Geographic farming, the concept there is becoming the top of mind, credible real estate expert in a specific geographic territory, whether that is your particular subdivision, your particular neighborhood, your particular town. You're doing a bang-up job in Lawrenceville and the surrounding territory. I know the Peacock team, you guys are all about, what, 3 different neighborhoods, 2 or 3? One's yours, one's Morgan's, and then there's like one nearby?
Yeah, we've got a few that we are putting on our website, maybe like 6 or so.
Okay, so techniques to be able to do that, one of them would be putting people, tailoring your website and your social media presence and all that to that particular area. Let's talk about your CRM, okay? What's critical about your CRM with regards to a specific area? You need what?
Data.
Names, numbers, data, so that you can then tailor your marketing message to them. Anybody got any great techniques on how to obtain that information? I know Mike's talked about this. He talked about it last week.
Steal it.
In the military, we never used the word steal. It was creatively procure. Okay, so you creatively procure any information, whether that be through the HOA, whether that be through parent-teacher organizations. What's that?
Neighborhood events.
There you go, neighborhood events. Jessica, how did yours work out when you were trying to do your? She's waving off for the benefit of the people at home. So neighborhood events are one way to do it. They just have to be executed flawlessly and with a whole lot of marketing in the process. And there's no guarantee that they're going to be successful, but it is possible. Okay. The goal would be at any neighborhood event would be to try to get some sort of a gimmick, some sort of a giveaway to be able to acquire names and phone numbers and emails so that you can leverage those in your CRM to be able to deliver a specific marketing message to a specific territory. Okay. So what are some of the techniques that you've done amongst your, not geographic territory, but your gaming community, Casey, to be able to do those? You've done some pretty creative stuff.
So this weekend, I'm employing this tactic this weekend. I have a convention that I'm going to be at, and I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 for free, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. So how you sign up for it is basically you scan my QR code and you give me all your data.
So you're even going high tech with it. You're not doing a sign up sheet or paper slips or anything. You're doing.
I don't like physical stuff like that. Kind of because of COVID, but not really. It's just easier. It's easier for them, and the easier I can make it for them to sign up, the more people are going to sign up. All they got to do is scan it, and then when they go to click on their name, most phones auto-generate the fields for everything, and then they just hit submit.
Yep.
And it takes half a second for them to do it, rather than them bending over a table with a pen in a crowd, doing
Yeah.
it.
Not to mention sign-up sheets. When you're doing pen and ink, you got to read somebody's illegible handwriting. Is that an O or is that an E? All of those problems that go along with it. Linear.
I've at least found that when it's something they have to write, they're going to give you as little as possible. I mean,
Yep.
You can't make like a required field on a written thing, so they can just put my name and then they're out.
Yeah.
If you have the QR code, you can make it required, and they have to
Yeah.
give it to you.
Yeah.
It could be wrong, but they have to give you something.
Not to mention that sometimes they write in a way that might not be readable.
Yeah. Or they give you the no email at gmail.com.
Yeah, I got the weather channel, or the time and temperature, a couple phone numbers.
Time and temperature.
Yeah.
But if you're giving something away, then they want you to be able to
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and I didn't even realize you guys, the Martin's Landing Geographic Farming territory is present in the room. What do you got for us?
We don't do events there.
Okay.
We're more hyper-local by hosting parties for our people on our street and stuff like that, so growing from there. But I cannot emphasize enough the importance of RSP Pro, that direct mail piece that Mike has preached. It has proven to be effective, and you can also customize the message. And what we're going to do to try to add people is on our next message, we're doing an HOA giveaway, a dues giveaway.
Okay.
For 22, so they have to email us with their information to be registered. And it resulted in a couple $1 million last year in business.
So give everybody a quick primer on RSP Pro.
And Jeff, help if I missed something. RSP Pro is a direct mail piece that comes out every 45 days, 60 days?
Every 2 months, yeah.
And it's a company out of Florida, and they are neighborhood specific and exclusive to an agent. And they take the recent sales in the past 30 days or whatever, and they also have an algorithm so people can type in a code into their web browser and get an estimate on their home. I get notice of when that happens, and sometimes they provide information, sometimes I stalk them and find it myself. But then follow up to see how interested they are in selling and whatnot, and it's proven to be effective.
Yep.
I've called people off of mine, and I had a couple people say, we love this so much, this is the only real estate marketing piece we get. We'll throw everything else away.
And because it is specific to the neighborhood.
It's professionally done,
Yep.
and it's specific to the area, the neighborhood. So each mailer, like in mine, I don't know how many y'all send out, but I send out to 14 different neighborhoods, and it has the neighborhood on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So each neighborhood is specifically called out. So it may be, Saddle Creek, or it may be Divine News or something, and it'll specifically say it on there.
Okay. And
I'm sorry. I had one of my clients, I
get you, Casey.
had gotten a listing appointment and went in and they picked mine, they'd gotten mine, like they'd gotten a couple weeks later, and they held it up and looked at it, they're like, it really is you. I'm like, but they hold on to it, like Jeff said, it's just the
yeah.
It's nicely
information.
done.
Mhm.
And what's the approximate cost per year?
Buck a piece.
Buck a piece per mailer, so it all depends on how many you're doing.
There's a minimum of 300.
Yeah, Mike can say add a zero, but I do the minimum right now,
Yeah, I think I do.
or a little bit.
I do like
There's also
1,400.
Okay. Go ahead, Casey.
There's also a monthly charge that's associated with it too.
Keep the website.
Another thing that I was going to say is even if you're not necessarily doing a geographic farming, they've shown to me that they've put out some pretty effective marketing messages, and they'll, to try and bait you into working with them, they'll just send you what their monthly kind of thing for the area is, and there's nothing that says that you just can't scoop and creatively.
I was going to say they're not exclusive. They're not doing anything that any of us could not do with MLS access, some creativity, and you could do the same thing theoretically through Express Docs, or if you want to create a flyer and hand jam, stamp it, and send them off. They're not doing anything that any of us could not physically do ourselves. Okay, they're just putting it into a package that's nice and easy to be able to manage. Jeff.
And the good thing about it, you get to proof it, and like on my last one that went out, they missed like a really important comp, and I sent her email, and they added it.
Added to it. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Can you add your own personal stuff to it also?
Yep.
Yeah, you can customize it if you don't like it.
And it's nice, like it looks very good.
And another benefit to it is that they've gone ahead and priced out the shipping cost and driven it down pretty good. I think when the company was originally investigating it, they looked at a couple different companies to see who could do it the cheapest, and they were the most competitive.
Does anybody know, is there a rep, like an account rep for this area?
There's cars up there with their name.
She came, they did a Zoom.
Okay.
She came, I think, last time, 2 years ago, and then she did a Zoom last year.
I was gonna say, if it's something that there's enough interest about, I mean, I'll get them in here. We'll do a huddle session or an extended foundations or something like that.
But I've been assigned, so like I've been assigned a specific person, so I have, it's not her, but it's, someone that anytime I need any tweaks or any changes, it's my go-to person, and I drive him crazy, but
Okay.
it's good.
And
It's
as Mike would say, this is not an entire marketing strategy.
No.
It's just one piece of it.
One piece of a big puzzle. So everybody knows, if you don't know, there's also another resource that we have available that Mike provides, and that's Cole Realty Resource. That is a data mining firm that we have access to. Nicole DeSantis is your main focal point for anything dealing with Cole Realty Resource. If you have a specific neighborhood, you can absolutely pull that information in, and you've got a huge data mine there. Now, anybody with experience will know that you may get one address, 123 Main Street, and you may have 4 or 5 names associated with it. You don't know if who's the father, who's the son, who's the wife, and you may have address but not phone or not email. So it's not 100%, but it's a place to start. And if that's all you've got, that's okay. We can get that information, we can put it in your CRM, and we can start marketing to it. Lanier.
To save her and you time, she'll ask you for the street names within the
Yes.
neighborhood. So if you just pull up Google Maps, look at the street names, send her the list, and she'll send you everything
Yep.
they've got.
Absolutely. Okay. That's about all I can say about this because I have had zero preparation. So open the floor to anything else. Anybody got anything? Anybody got any questions? One of the things I'm working on for everybody is there were so many questions about ribbon recently. I've actually made contact with the rep. I'm looking for times and dates, and we're going to get ribbon actually in here to do 45 minutes to an hour of very specific what it is the program is and has and can do for you, and watch the schedule. That'll be coming out soon.
Is that what the Easy Buy is?
It's one of the elements of Easy Buy. Ribbon is one of the vendors that we have generically branded as Easy Buy. Knock is the other one. There's also Divvy, there's Home Partners of America, there's lots of different options that kind of generally fall under that category. But basically they're all alternate solutions, programs that you can plug your clients into to be able to facilitate whatever need they happen to have, whether it be, I can't buy now, I need to lease for a period of time, I'm new to the area, I'm not sure if I want to live in Norcross or if I want to live in Roswell. Whether it be I have a property to sell and I don't want to inconvenience my life because I have young kids in my house and things like that. There's all of those solutions would fall under a generic title of Easy Buy using one or several of those particular vendors. Manuel.
Yeah, I have 3 minutes to tell my story of Ribbon yesterday.
Sure, yes, I'd love to hear that.
So, we decided to put an offer on a property yesterday with Ribbon. It's called Boost, right?
Mhm.
Have them back us as a cash offer. And most of you know I'm very impatient, so went online, did what I had to do, and then Ribbon sends out something to the buyer that they need to fill out and confirm that they are the buyer. And then at that point, I already had the contract ready, everything to go, and I didn't realize that the stuff had to also be confirmed by the lender. And the lender talked to the Ribbon people, but apparently the email was not copied down correctly, so he never got an email, it never got confirmed. Meanwhile, I am loading up like the survey and the seller's disclosure form and the lead paint exhibit, and it's not showing up. So I loaded it up, oh, and it wasn't showing up because the other things, like the lender had not approved the, pre-approval letter.
Pre-approval.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, I must have messed something up. I loaded it up again. Now it's in there twice. And we spent 3 hours yesterday going back and forth between Ribbon and turns out their tech help is not working on Sunday. So what I had, the person that I had, didn't quite know how to fix it. So I ended up, after a long 3 hours of going back and forth, downloading the thing, editing myself on a small PDF and sending it out myself to the buyers for signature. But that's a big no-no with Ribbon. So point of the matter is, do not load the stuff up twice. It may take you hours to get rid of it.
Okay. Good point. Casey.
Ribbon's an interesting tool because it can be used in more than just boosting a buyer. I had a situation where I've got a seller that comes to me and they're like, our house flooded, and my wife has a severe allergy to mold, so suffice it to say, we can't live in that house anymore, even after the insurance and the renovations and stuff like that. We're in a hotel right now. We have to wait for it to get done, but we've got kids, we're tired of being in a hotel. How do we buy without selling our house?
There you go.
Ribbon's a solution to that problem because it gives them the capability to go under contract. Ribbon can buy the property for them, hold it for 6 months, and then they can close on it.
Yeah. Very good point. Lots of solutions there.
Quick question, back to the newsletter. That goes out as a trifold, right? Not in an envelope?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a front, back, and then
Which is huge.
middle. Yeah.
And you can customize, there's a picture on the front, you can customize the picture, you can customize the monthly, whatever. They have a blurb that they put out, and then you can go through and customize that. You can have it with or without your local listings, you can have it with just sold comps, you can change it up.
Nice.
Okay. You wanna jump in? No worries. We talked a little bit about geographic farming. We're talking a little bit about RSP and getting names into your CRM and being hyper local per the advice of Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell.
Are you being both Mr. and Mrs.?
Well,
Okay, that's a little weird. So
yeah.
how do you get the names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses? How do you get it?
Creative procurement.
They listen.
Steal
Steal
it.
it.
Oh, you're being funny.
Whatever method is possible.
Okay, well, what methods are possible? Because until you get this, you're gonna have a really hard time.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom,
So I just talked to you about it Friday. I got the school directory and tried employing my daughter to help me input the data anyway. I copied everything, sent it to Fiverr, and they did it in a day for like $30. It was 22 full.
okay, but you gotta get it first.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the second part of it.
I've got the school directory.
That's nice. What if you don't have a directory? Casey?
Events, giveaways are a great way for doing that.
Okay. So Philip, you've done that in Martin's Landing, right? Like, what have you done to, like, I'll swap you, you give me your contact information, I give you this.
We had a registration for an HOA dues giveaway, and then did the drawing on Facebook Live, and we're doing it again this year, and then announcing it through RSP to get more people to respond.
Okay, so you gave away a free year of HOA dues, which you paid for them, to everybody in the neighborhood?
No, just the winner.
Just the winner,
They
just
had to
one?
provide- They just had to provide the information.
So what are your HOA dues for a year?
$7.95.
Okay, so for $800, you bought a data list.
For those that responded, yes. The directory is not very helpful.
How do you make people aware of your giveaway contest?
Through the RSP Pro, because I can customize the copy to that, people do read that. And then also Facebook messages,
Facebook messages?
videos.
Okay. So did you run it as like a targeted ad at the neighborhood? Okay, good. So how else can you get the names, phone numbers, email addresses, all that kind of stuff?
Ask.
Ask? How would you ask? Because like if I don't have your contact information, then how am I gonna ask you for your contact information?
Well, I mean, depending on the size of your neighborhood and depending on what you have going on, like I try to get a lot of them when I go to events and just talk to people and say, hey, would you like information on the neighborhood? I don't get a lot of them, but I do get some.
Okay, where else?
Could use the Coles list to pull their information.
Coles Realty Service, right? Which Nicole has at her desk, right? So, who's done that? Okay, so you give Nicole a list of streets and she'll come back to you with as much information as she has about people that live on that street. What percentage of the information would you say you get from that?
Maybe 10.
40, 50.
If you're lucky.
So it ranges, it really does range. It really just depends on what Coles has got. Oh, okay, well, here. I don't have time to erase. So you could run a contest, right? You could go from Cole. What was one of the other ideas we had?
RSP.
RSP. You could do a mailing, which is all that is. And you could give people a compelling reason to reach out to you. Now, imagine this is you, okay? Jay, I'm going to send something to you in the mail, and I want you to sit down at your computer, reach out to me, and give me all your contact information. Not going to happen. I'm going to have to give you a compelling reason to want to do that, right? Okay, so that might tag back to the contest. So what are my HOA dues, like $4,800? I might do that for $4,800. Well, that's a lot of money to spend. I know, that's why you... How else can I get the information?
Through, like you did, you became a member of, or a board on the HOA. You were part of the board.
Crazy.
You could get active. So I became president of my HOA. I got it. I did get it that way. How else could you get it?
Creative procuring.
You could steal it. You could go to somebody that has it. There is somebody in the neighborhood that has it. They've got everybody's information. Everybody. And you get them to give it to you. Why would they do it? I don't know why they would do it. I know why they wouldn't do it. They would be afraid that you're going to use it for the exact reason that you're going to use it for. We don't want you spamming the neighborhood. I'll get in trouble. But then again, people do it. Jeff.
Well, so I did a giveaway at a golf tournament. I stood on the first tee. It's not really a geofarming, but I took the information. I had a lot of people say, well, what are you going to do with my information? I said, well, I'm going to put you on a newsletter and I'm going to send you information every now and then. Well, I don't know if I want that. Well, here's the deal. You take it. If you don't like it, then you unsubscribe. You know how many people actually unsubscribed from 100 people that I collected?
2. Good.
They forget. They don't want to unsubscribe. They either read it or they don't, but they don't unsubscribe. So it's worth a shot.
Okay. If you don't have the data, names, phone numbers, email addresses, physical addresses, this is going to be really hard. I don't know how you do it. I'll tell you how I did it, and it worked. I just don't think anybody's going to do it. I went door to door. Now look, this is how simple it can be. This worked. It took a lot of time. It was work. I don't think anybody's going to do that. Why? I don't think you want to work. You should see your faces.
He's throwing down the gauntlet,
Is he
y'all.
screwing me? No, this is hard work. I went door to door. Door to door works. It works relatively fast. After my second round through the neighborhood, people would stand at their front door as I was walking down the driveway and go, Mike, just hold on, you've been involved in this already. Mike, we're not moving. And I would say, okay, see you next month. No, you don't come, we're not moving. Yeah, well, what I know is this, you're not moving until you are. You're not moving right now, and at 9:30 you are. And that's the way life goes. Mm-hmm. So every month, every door, every month. And this is how stupid I was. I would have little giveaways. You know what my little giveaway was when I knocked on the door? I gave you a sponge. I know. Like when I think about it now, it's like, what the hell were you giving them a sponge? I bought these little sponges. They were dry and they were real thin. I could carry a lot of them with me, and they didn't cost very much. And they had my name and phone number on this sponge. And they were really cheap. They couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 uses. But it was probably all I could afford at the time is why I did that. I don't even think, now when I think about it, why'd you even do that? Why don't you just hand them a card? You don't need a giveaway item. Unless you can afford it, you don't need a giveaway item. But door to door. Lanier, knock knock.
Hello?
Hey, Lanier, Mike over at Century 21. Just stopping by to see if you planned on making a move this year.
No, we moved in recently, so.
No, okay, great. Lanier, every month I like to send out a list of properties that have sold in the neighborhood. Would you like to have that list?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Let me just get your email address. Okay, and he would give it to me. If he didn't want to give it to me, I'd say, okay, no problem, and move on. The thing that all these things have in common is you're just accumulating them little by little every day. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. Little by little, one bite at a time. This is a patient, consistent, I use that word again. Consistent, daily approach. You're trying to build them. When you go to bed tonight, you want more names and contact information than when you woke up this morning. And every day. And you're trying to build it up. If you can't get a comprehensive data source, you're going to have a really hard time doing this. One of the reasons why it's really hard to work a neighborhood that you don't live in. Not impossible. I did it. It's not impossible. It's just a lot easier if you live there. Because you should get the data. It'll be easier to get the data. And you need to have the data. You're going to have a really hard time implementing a strategy without the data. Not impossible. You could run Facebook ads. Well, that's a 15-mile radius. Doesn't have to be a 15-mile radius. Get with Rob. He'll show you how to narrow it down. Little hacks, little workarounds to beat Facebook at their game. But I will tell you this. Do one thing every once in a while. Dabble. Play at this. Nothing will happen. Nothing. You are wasting your time. This is probably, when we talk about get up, get dressed, and go to work, being a daily, consistent, diligent real estate agent, mostly I'm preaching to the choir right here. But like this target audience requires that like none other. Every day. Contacting them all in different ways all the time. So that when you start to walk down their driveway, they'll go, Mike, we're not moving. Well, you know what's fascinating about that? They know my name.
And why you wanna talk to them?
Oh, they do. And I've only knocked on your door 2 other times. By the 3rd time, you can call me by name. I'm gonna finish with this morning. Terramont, right across the street from Martin's Landing. Now, I picked Terramont when I first got my real estate license because I was 25 years old. And back then, those homes were $80,000 to $90,000. The most expensive home in the neighborhood was $90,000. I know, old man story. What are they selling for now?
In the threes.
In the 3s, okay, all right. I picked that neighborhood because I was 25 years old and I felt more comfortable with it. If I picked another neighborhood that was more expensive, I got it that I would make more money, but those people are like my parents' age and that was intimidating to me. Okay, that's fine. I worked that neighborhood for more than a decade. And about 1.5 years ago, those of you that know me, I don't do grocery stores. Like I've been in one grocery store in the last 25 years, and it was this time. I don't do grocery stores. My wife does the grocery store. I don't even. So we're driving home from something, and Jane says, I need to stop by Publix and grab some things. And I go, okay, well, I'll just wait here. And she goes, come on, I haven't seen you all week. Come on, come into the store with me. I'm like, I don't do grocery stores. She goes, come on, quit being such a fill in the blank. Okay, but damn. I go in a grocery store one time in 25 years, and we're walking down one of the aisles, and a lady comes walking from the other direction and walks by me and as nonchalant as this says, oh, hi, Mike. And she just keeps walking. And she gets by me, and Jane goes, who is that? I'm like, I have no idea. So I turned around, I said, ma'am. She goes, yes. I said, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage here. Can you help me? And she does this. She puts her hands on her hips, and she said, you don't know who I am. And I'm like, it's escaped me right now. Could you help me? And she says, well, I live on Creekwood Crossing. And I went, oh, so you live in Terramont. Okay. I haven't been in that neighborhood for 15 years. You haven't gotten anything from me in probably almost 20. I haven't been in the neighborhood in 15 years. I haven't done anything in that neighborhood in forever. And that lady can walk past me in the grocery store and go, oh, hi, Mike. And I said, oh, okay, yeah. And she goes, you know, we haven't seen very much of you lately. I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, you should do a better job. And I said, yes, you're right, I need to. Thank you. And she just goes on about her grocery shop. Just as casual as that. More than a decade later, if you do it right, this is what happens. You become known as the neighborhood expert. And it lasts. It gets embedded in people. And when they go to put their home up for sale, unless they have a friend or a relative, they'll go, well, let's call Jeff. Why? Jeff's the neighborhood expert. Who else would we call? This is how your consumers think. Well, Jeff just knows that you'll lose out on listings to people like this. Well, so-and-so, they're the neighborhood expert. They're the ones we see all the time. They're the one who knows the neighborhood better than they do. Where Morgan lives, what's the agents there?
Legas.
I'm sorry?
The Legas team.
The Legas team?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, you know that.
I know them well.
Yes. Why? They're the neighborhood experts. Even the other real estate agents that live there think they're the real estate experts. Why? I don't really do very much. They do a lot. So they're more expertise here than I am. Hold it, I'm not supposed to think like that. Yeah, but we do. And that's the impact that geographic farming can make. If you are really consistent. But first you got to get the data. You can go knock on the doors. It's going to be beautiful this week. Go knock on some doors. Women, go do it in pairs. Go to Nicole and give her the street names. Contact the RSP people and do mailings. Get actively involved in your community. Do not get on the HOA board. Don't, not unless you're that person that can do that and everybody won't hate you, and that's almost nobody. Or steal it. I don't care. I tell most of you this, if you leave your neighborhood directory out on your kitchen countertop and I'm in your house, I will take it home with me. I'm just telling, that's like we're walking a drunk past a bar. I will steal it. I'll bring it back to you one day. You'll find it in the cushions of your sofa and wonder, well, how these damn kids. How's your kids? That's how it got there. I don't care how you get it, but if you don't get it, you aren't working that neighborhood. You're not. You might say you are, but the people who live there don't know it. But this is the most tried and true strategy in residential real estate. This works. Okay? So you choose how you get the data, but if you don't get it, you're going to have problems. Questions? No? So I explained it so well, everybody got it?
Perfect.
I want to finish with this. You should have in this business, and I've had a problem this morning because somebody's an idiot and they don't work here anymore because of this. I had to fire them Friday night. Everywhere you go, you have no expectation of privacy. You should have no expectation of privacy. Let me repeat that. There is no such thing as privacy in today's world. In this building, I have cameras the only place in this building where there are not cameras is in the bathrooms. And I have thought about that. If I pay $2,000 for a plumber again, we're getting video in the bathroom. In your listings, when you're showing property, Jay, if I'm showing you and Jody homes, the first thing I'm going to say to you guys when we go inside this house, I don't want you to say a word. Don't talk. Don't say anything nice. Don't say anything negative. Everywhere we go, we're being recorded. Because you are. Video and audio. Everything you say, you should expect to be being recorded. So if you're showing my house and you're saying, my wife and I bought a house 2 years ago, and we're walking through and she goes, who decorates houses like this? My God, this is horrible. I'm like, would you shut up? Because if we decide that you can see through the wallpaper and we want to buy this house, they're not going to like us. Shut up. Don't say anything. Everything you say, everything you do is being recorded. We had an agent access a home with people that were not her buyers and do inappropriate activities inside that home. Imagine that's your home and you've trusted us with a lockbox on your door and you go out of town for the weekend and you come home and you find out because you said, well, let's see what went on around this place this weekend. And there's really inappropriate activity going on in your home while you're not there. Are you pissed? Mm-hmm. I would be. That agent is fired, and we have reported to the Georgia Real Estate Commission and the Board of Realtors. They will not be licensed by probably this time tomorrow. And they'll be lucky if I can keep the seller from filing all kinds of criminal charges against them. And keep us out of the newspaper. Folks, if you're a tad bit appalled or scared right now, good. You have no that's just the world today. You have no expectation of privacy. And you young people, watch what you do. Okay? No pictures of anything. Of anything. Okay, so Jay, if Jody wants to take some pictures of you in your Christmas outfit, don't let her do it.
Mike, you weren't supposed to say anything.
She'll get mad at you one day. She will, because you're you. And then she'll say, well, I'll fix him. And she'll send pictures to everybody. Don't do it. And most of you are sitting here going, well, I would never do that. And some of you are sitting here going, oh, shit, how do I get those pictures back? Okay, let's go to work.